Hi, this is Jundo. Welcome to Tree Leaf. And today we're going to cover one of the most basic of Buddhist basics, that you don't exist. I mean, yes you do, but no you don't. Well, you don't exist as a separate self, but anyway, it's really very simple. Give me a couple of minutes here to try to explain. First off, of course you exist. Tell the tax office that you don't. Tell them you're not going to pay your taxes this year because the Buddha said, I don't exist as a separate self. Or tell your boss that you're not coming into work tomorrow because you don't exist and neither does he. See what happens then. Let's be very clear about what this non-self, this you do not exist as you think you exist, really means in a Buddhist sense. First off, we think that we exist as me, in my case, and the rest of the world that's not me. That includes you, by the way. And there's a barrier between. Buddhist teachings say, don't be so sure about that. This really isn't rocket science. Give me a second to explain here. Most of our life, we're convinced that there's an us, a me, a self, and the rest of the world that's not. But does it have to be that way? Is that the only way to look at who you are, or I am? The answer is, that's just one way to look at things. There's a you. Let's say your name is Larry. Hi, Larry. There's a Jundo. There's the garden out there. There's that tree. And they all appear separate. There's our kitty cat who's meowing down the hall. They all appear separate. And that is one way to look at things. But there are other ways to look at it too. For example, we're all interrelated, all connected. It's just the whole wide world in which Larry needs Jundo, Jundo needs Larry. I need the air to breathe. I need that tree outside to make the air. I need the kitty cat down the hall. He needs me to feed him, give him water. We're all interconnected. And from a biological standpoint, the biologists would say, we're all just one big ecosystem. Maybe a physicist would say, you know, Larry, you think you're Larry. I'm just calling you Larry. But really, you're just atoms and molecules and electromagnetic energy. From one standpoint, there's no separation at all between you and that chair you're sitting in. That's another way of looking at who you are. But the Buddha's meaning was really a little different. It was that the barriers that separate us and create suffering because we put ourselves in opposition to everything that's not us, that's all just created right here, and we can soften it, we can drop it away. You've heard me talk about this almost every day I'm here, talking my thing here at Shambhala-san. Because in Shikantaza, the hard borders, the resistance, the separation, the barriers between ourself and the world can be dropped away. Sitting in Shikantaza, we drop our likes, we drop our dislikes, our attractions and aversions, we drop our attachments, we drop our clinging. Suddenly the hard border that separates us from the world fades. You know, this is called one of the 3 marks of Buddhism. One is suffering. Well, the suffering fades when we stop resisting the world, pushing the world away. Another one of the marks of existence is impermanence. I spoke about that before. Well, usually we cling to what we like, hold on for dear life. Sometimes it's life. And we push away things we don't like, sometimes death. Dropping resistance, dropping judgments, dropping the separation between who we are in Zazen. Even the resistance to change drops away, and there's a feeling of it's all just the great flowing. Just go with the flow. As that great Bodhisattva Paul McCartney said, let it be. And then there's just the flowing. The garden outside, Larry, the kitty cat, you, me, all one great flowing. There are times in meditation when the mind can become so clear that literally the barriers are just gone. But this practice, tells us we don't stay there. We cannot stay there to live. So it is possible to rise up from the cushion. And at the same time, there's you and me and the garden and the tree and the mosquito that just bit me. There's also that remaining perspective that it's all okay. The separation, the resistance is gone from a moment of shikantaza. There is a self, but there's no separate self. There's just that flowing. And according to Master Dogen, too, then we are reaffirmed as separate selves. Listen, Larry, pardon me for calling you Larry, you are the most unique Larry in the world. There's only one of you, and you are perfectly your Larryness, with not one hair to add, not one hair to take away. Your self is reaffirmed as just what it is. Mountains are mountains. Mountains are not mountains. Mountains are mountains again. That's something we say in Buddhism. So, to cut to the chase, make a long story short, if you just stop thinking about the separation, the resistance, the aversions, the attractions, the pushing away, in a moment of shikantaza, the self